Good afternoon, dear students. In the last presentations about isotope tracer technique, we discussed about what is radioactivity, what are the units of radioactivity, okay, and how radioisotopes are measured, okay, and how radioisotopes are measured by using a Geiger-Müller counter, by using scintillation counters like solid scintillation counter, liquid scintillation counter. What are the advantages and disadvantages of Geiger-Müller counter, scintillation counter, that also we have discussed. Now let us today discuss about measurement of stable isotopes. Okay. Now, why do we feel a need of using stable isotopes in biology? See, since radioactivity is a magnitude which can be so easily measured, or radioactivity is a magnitude so easily measurable, use of radioisotopes in biology has gained an upper hand over stable isotopes. Okay, so even today, use of radioisotopes in biology has an upper hand. Okay. However, there are certain isotopes whose half-life is very, very less. They are rather unstable. The studies involving such unstable radioisotopes, or those radioisotopes which are very less half-life, like nitrogen, oxygen. Okay, but we need to use isotopes of oxygen and nitrogen, and but they have very short half-life. Okay, so the studies involving oxygen and nitrogen have to use stable isotopes of these elements rather than radioactive ones. Okay, so certain elements which are of use in biology, whose isotopes are of use in biology, but have a very short half life and are unstable. In that case, we have to use the stable isotopes of these elements, like using the stable isotopes of oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, now the measurement of stable isotope is a more cumbersome process than radioactive isotope. Okay, measuring stable isotope is more cumbersome than radioisotopes. It can nevertheless be performed with a very high efficiency. Okay, but we can measure them. Now, the property of the isotopes having different atomic masses, because they have different number of neutrons, is utilized in the measurement of stable isotopes. So how are we going to measure the stable isotopes? The technique most commonly used for measurement of stable isotopes is mass spectrometry. Okay, so today we are going to study measurement of stable isotopes by mass spectrometry. Okay, and what property is used to measure the stable isotopes by mass spectrometry? That they have different atomic masses because they have different number of neutrons. Okay, isotopes have different atomic masses because they have different number of neutrons. This property we will be using in their measurement. Okay, now measurement of stable isotopes by mass spectrometry. Okay, understand the steps. What is the mechanism? Mass spectrometry involves ionization of parent molecule to give parent molecular ion, and excuse me, fragmentation of these parent molecular ions to give fragment ions. This is achieved by bombarding the sample with electrons. That means your the parent molecule or the sample is bombarded with electrons. Because of that, the parent molecule is converted into parent molecular ion, followed by its fragmentation to give fragment ions. Okay. All the ions produced have a positive charge. When these ions possessing certain amount of kinetic energy are subjected to a magnetic field, they will be deflected to different degrees depending upon their mass to charge ratio. Okay, mass to charge, that is m by e values. This is the basis of separation by mass spectrometry. Okay, how they are separated, how they are identified, or how they are measured. See, First, we have to bombard the sample with electrons so that ions are generated. The sample is converted, okay, ionized and fragmented to give fragment ions. All the ions produced have a positive charge. Okay, when these ions having certain kinetic energy are subjected to a magnetic field, they will be deflected to the to different degree depending upon their mass to charge ratio. Okay, now if the charge is kept constant, okay, now how the molecules get deflected or move depending upon their mass to charge ratio. Now the charge is kept constant. If the charge is kept constant, ions are deflected by angles which are inversely proportional to the square root of masses of the ions. That means alpha. If the charge is kept constant, ions are deflected by an angle which is inversely proportional to the square root of masses. That means alpha, the angle by which it is deflected, is equal to inverse of square root of masses, that is 1 upon root m. So alpha is equal to 1 upon root under root m. Okay, so if you keep the charge constant, the angle by which the sample molecule is deflected is inversely proportional to the square root of their mass. So alpha is equal to 1 upon square root of m. How it works, how the mass spectrometer works. The separation of ions depending upon their mass to charge values, mass to charge ratio, is as follows. See, the ions are accelerated to a constant velocity in a vacuum. Okay, the ions are first generated by bombardment with electrons. Then the ions are accelerated to a constant velocity. Then the ions are accelerated to a constant velocity in vacuum by a series of negatively charged electrostatic plates, and they are then deflected from their original trajectory by a magnetic field. Okay, so you accelerate the ions to a constant velocity in vacuum by a series of negatively charged electrostatic plates, then they are deflected from their original trajectory by magnetic field. So they first come across you can say negatively charged electrostatic plates, and then they come across magnetic field. Now for the ions that carry the same charge, the amount of deflection is dependent upon the mass of the ion, so that the ion having smallest mass undergo greatest degree of deflection. Okay, now ions carrying the same charge, if the ions are having same charge, amount of deflection depends upon their mass. Okay, now by varying the degree of magnetic field or accelerating voltage, the ion trajectories may be varied so that fragment ions having a given mass to charge value impinge on the collector slit of the detector. Okay, so if you want that your sample molecule should get impinged on the detector slit of the detector, you have to vary the magnetic field. Okay, so by varying the magnetic field or the accelerating voltage, the ion trajectories may be varied so that fragment ions are having a given charge to mass value, will be impinged on the collector slit of the detector. Okay. Now, the number of ions of a given mass impinge on the detector is a measure of the abundance of that particular ion. Okay. So, the number of ions that get of a given mass that get impinged on the detector is the measure of their abundance. Okay. So, the more a particular ion, more the mass that gets impinged on the detector. This is how the mass spectrometer works, and this is how we measure the stable isotopes by using a mass spectrometer. Okay, so this is an instrument which is showing us the basic components of a mass spectrometer. Okay, so first you have sample which is vaporized. Okay, then there is an ionization chamber where the sample is exposed or bombarded with electrons, and it gets converted into positively charged ions, which then are exposed to electrostatic field. Okay, negatively charged electrostatic field, okay, that accelerates the ion in vacuum. Okay, so electrostatic field accelerates the ions in the in vacuum, and then your ions, the accelerated ions in vacuum, come across magnetic field, and when they come across magnetic field they get deflected. Okay, so they get deflected, or the angle by they get deflected depending upon their mass if their charge is constant, and then the ions get impinged on the slit of the detector, and those ions are detected and recorded. This is how a mass spectrometer works to measure the stable isotopes. Okay. Now in the next presentation we will discuss about the applications of tracer technique and radioisotopes as well as stable isotopes.